External Affairs Minister SM Krishna might have actually quit. He stepped down as Foreign Minister. External Affairs Minister SM Krishna stepping down from his position ahead of the reshuffle that was planned on Sunday. Remember, Saturday was when that meeting between Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh was scheduled to take place, to take a final call. And we on Headlines Today had broken yesterday that there are possibilities that there could be changes within the top 5 as well. And now we're getting word that SM Krishna, the External Affairs Minister, has quit as from his post, and obviously now the government will decide, or rather Manmohan Singh will decide as to who will take his place. But that's the big breaking news coming in yesterday after Headlines Today confirmed that there are reports that there could be a possibility that one of the big 5 ministers could be dropped. SM Krishna today actually stepping down ahead of the PCC meeting, and also ahead of that meeting that's supposed to take place between Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh to take a final call on the cabinet reshuffle. That's the big breaking news at the moment. Rahul Kanwal, Managing Editor, Headlines Today, joins us. And Rahul, obviously, this will come as a huge surprise to many, but it's a story that we broke yesterday, that there is a possibility that one of the big 5 could actually step down.
Well, that's absolutely correct, Siddharth. I've just gotten off the phone, and we can confirm to our viewers that as we bring you this broadcast, External Affairs Minister SM Krishna is sending his resignation to the Prime Minister. He's been asked by the party officially to move to Karnataka. There are elections expected there next year. He's been asked to beef up the party organization in Karnataka because they believe that this is one state where they have an opportunity to unseat the BJP, which has been in a big mess after Yedurappa threatened to start his own party on the 10th of December. They believe this is an opportunity. They want SM Krishna to be the party's face. They haven't been very happy with SM Krishna's role as the External Affairs Minister. He's been reading speeches of the wrong foreign ministers. His work is seen as ineffectual. They wanted to bring in someone younger, and yet at the same time, because SM Krishna had a great reputation of being an effective administrator in Karnataka, they didn't want to make him feel slighted either. Therefore, instead of him being sacked, the party through back channels communicated to the External Affairs Minister, indicating to him that it would be best before Sunday's big reshuffle if he steps down. Now earlier, and we have this on very good authority, Salman Khurshid, the current law minister, was one of the 4 front-runners for the position of the External Affairs Minister. However, after Operation Dhritarashtra, which was carried by the TV Today network, his name has fallen off the list. There are several other names which are doing the rounds. There is Anand Sharma, who's hopeful of getting this position. Kamal Nath has been lobbying for this very hard. The decision hasn't yet been taken, but the fact is one of the big 5 wickets has fallen. SM Krishna, as we speak, is sending his resignation to the Prime Minister. He is now confirmed to us officially that he's stepping down and he's going to Karnataka. Siddharth.
Rahul Kanwal, Managing Editor, breaking that story for you. But Rahul, a lot of people will question the timing, because only yesterday the Karnataka Lokayukta actually, or rather the High Court in Karnataka actually allowed legal proceedings or a probe to be initiated by the Lokayukta against SM Krishna along with HD Devagowda as well and BS Yedurappa as well. So a lot of people will question the timing given the current climate of the country.
Well, Siddharth, the fact is, for the last several reshuffles, the Prime Minister has been wanting to change SM Krishna. It's always been discussed at the last moment because of his seniority and the position he holds in the Congress party. It's been held back. This isn't necessarily linked to what happened yesterday, because these discussions have been going on for several weeks now, where the party indicated that they want to bring in a younger External Affairs Minister, somebody who would seem more in sync because even if you look at his interactions with Hina Rabbani Khar, the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, it would seem on every occasion that India came away looking second best and Pakistan always got the upper hand, because he wasn't seen to be adequately with it, as it were, to be able to get the better of these diplomatic exchanges. It is essentially his track record and the need that is now being felt by the Prime Minister, by Mr. Rahul Gandhi, that they want to bring in some young, fresh blood. And they also want to make it seem as if this is indeed a major transformation. This isn't just a cosmetic change, because if they just fill in some vacancies, don't make any big changes happen, then you aren't sending out a signal that there is strong intent to govern, to deliver. Therefore, one of the big 5 pawns on the chessboard being moved back now to Karnataka. SM Krishna will be given the role of organizational chief. He'll be then spearheading the party's campaign for the Karnataka Assembly election that happen next week, This isn't necessarily got anything to do with what happened yesterday. This has been in the pipeline now for several weeks. They're working on it, and they didn't want to make SM Krishna feel slighted. Therefore, they didn't want him to find out later that he'd been dumped. They're giving him this way out, saying, you tender your resignation and we'll make it seem as if it was all a part of a strategy where we are sending senior ministers back into the organization to strengthen the organization. Siddharth.
It's almost as if the Congress is trying to implement the Kamraj plan, Rahul, but the stamp of Rahul Gandhi is becoming clearer and clearer with each passing moment on this much expected cabinet reshuffle.
Oh, absolutely, because from what people close to Rahul Gandhi have been telling us is that don't look at his reluctance to enter the mainstream as his unwillingness to get his hands dirty. However, when the young man comes in, he wants to ensure that there is intent which is signaled. So he wouldn't like the changes to be cosmetic, because what we're going to see over the next few hours on Sunday will be just the cabinet reshuffle. After that, Siddharth, we will witness a massive organizational reshuffle where Rahul Gandhi and the vision that he's developed over the last few months for the Congress party, he'll begin to kickstart that. And this is a major area of concern, Siddharth, for the old guard of the Congress party, those who are part of the current set, who are very close to 10 Janpath, but don't necessarily have the same sort of equation with Rahul Gandhi, and that will be a big change. So in the same fashion as Sanjay Gandhi came in, brought in his own people, here we're going to see Rahul Gandhi come in with his people, the ones he's been working with at the Youth Congress, the others he's been meeting, he's being impressed with. So what we'll see is a massive organizational reshuffle as well, in addition to the cabinet reshuffle. So there's two-part strategy which is being worked on right now, Siva.
Certainly, Rahul, stay with us, because we're getting word that Kartikeya Sharma, deputy editor, also has some information on SM Krishna's resignation. Kartikeya, over to you.
You see, this is part of the larger process whereby for the first time the indications are that the Congress, or the Prime Minister, is actually trying to reject the top four. It was only after Pranab Mukherjee's candidature as the president there was some space. But then the Prime Minister really didn't get new faces. Chidambaram was moved from one ministry to the other. Now, with this portfolio becoming empty and a signal being given to the Prime Minister that he can really change the faces there is a chance that the mid-ranking ministers who aspire to be part of the top four will get a space, which means that there is going to be some sort of vertical movement in the party. If you see from 2004 till 2009, except the resignation of then Home Minister Shivraj Patil, the top four remain the same. So I would say that for the first time this rejig is going to be huge, affecting the people or the ministers from top to bottom, and will ensure that the government gets new faces in top 4, top 10 and the bottom 20, which means that a lot of minister of states as young faces.
Right, Kartikeya, stay with us as well. Sanjeev Srivastava, political analyst, joining us. And Sanjeev, what do you make of this latest development? Because it's almost as if the Congress is using the pretext of the Kamraj plan to shunt SM Krishna back to the state to ensure that Rahul Gandhi can then put his stamp on Manmohan Singh's cabinet.
Well, it seems like that this because if this reshuffle is to be a cosmetic exercise, then you might as well not do it. So the big question ahead of the reshuffle is that will it be a big bang exercise to send a message, whether it's going to be a team Rahul or it's going to be a team 2014 elections. So whatever it is, I think the first step is a welcome step. Also remember that today's newspaper headline said that there was a Lokayukt had recommended an inquiry and perhaps some kind of further than an inquiry against former chief ministers of Karnataka, which included SM Krishna's name. So in any case, in this atmosphere, the Congress at least wants to project that it has not much tolerance and corruption. So they will be trying to get rid of some of this baggage, if you may, old guard, right, or the people who are not really required, right, in Delhi. And Karnataka, also to be fair to SM Krishna, I think right now he has more of a relevance in state politics in Karnataka, because that's one of the few places where Congress has some kind of an outside chance to come back in power.
Fair point, Sanjeev. Stay with us. We'll go across to our managing editor, Rahul Kanwal. And Rahul, given the state of affairs and how SM Krishna has been struggling, as you've pointed out, do we have word from within the Congress party as who could be in the running for SM Krishna's job now?
Siddharth, I just have some more information I want to share with our viewers. Before that, I just got off the phone with one of the senior union ministers, and he's indicated to us, this is what he's saying, that this isn't necessarily the only resignation that we might see over the next few hours. There's a Congress war room meeting happening at 15 Rakabganj Road this evening at 6:30, where Rahul Gandhi will be there. The core committee is meeting at 5 p.m. and there is a strong possibility that other ministers too will be stepping down. SM Krishna might have been the first, he might not be the only one. Other ministers too will be stepping down. He says by 8 p.m. you will know the names. This could take some more time. Also, we've been hearing in the meanwhile, the Cabinet Secretariat has been in touch with some MPs, some from West Bengal, some from Maharashtra. They're being called in. They've been asked that by 10 a.m. on Sunday, they must be in New Delhi to take over. So suddenly the process kicking into motion, we can see its visible manifestation. There's a war room meeting which is essentially supposed to discuss what happens in the Himachal elections, but will also take up the issue of the cabinet reshuffle. There's a core committee meeting taking place at 5 p.m. and we are being told on good authority by somebody in the union cabinet that there is a possibility that other ministers too will step down, because the party wants to create space for ministers to be allocated new portfolios, and also with the elections now around the corner, the organization suffering, send people back, efficient ministers back into the party so they can work on strengthening the party in each of the main states. Siddharth.
Well, stay with us. So we'll go across to Karthikeya, because yesterday Karthikeya had come out and given us a list of people, list of ministers who were already MOS or MPs who Rahul Gandhi wanted elevated to the post of either MOS or cabinet ministers. And Karthikeya, who could be the front runners to actually be inducted into the cabinet?
You see, even yesterday, we were the one who were pointing out that the final decision, the top four, has not been taken. And last 48 hours, this decision will be taken by the Prime Minister and Sonia Gandhi. You see, when we are talking about MOSs, certain regional areas would be strengthened by Congress party. For example, they will need to strengthen areas like Murshidabad, from where Adhir Chaudhary comes, or for example, Praveen Rashtrapal, who comes from Saurashtra in Gujarat, or Vilas Rao Muttemar, who is from Nagpur, where Nitin Gadkari wants to contest the elections, or Mumbai proper, where Gurdas Kamath is a very formidable and long-standing MP. So these are the areas on which the Congress is working and where the representation would take place. Son of former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sanjeeva Reddy, Satya Prakash Reddy, he would also be inducted. Chiranjeevi, who is a Kapu leader from coastal Andhra Pradesh, Manik Tagore, who defeated Vaiko in Tamil Nadu. So these are the faces we are talking about, who challenged tough faces in 2009. Or for example, Meenakshi Natarajan, she won from Mandsaur. Mandsaur is a seat from where BJP won 7 times straight, and she won that seat by a margin of 50 to 70,000. So Congress is going to work in a very strategic way. And I do agree with Sanjeev that yes, in a way, this is a way to create space for the top four. But the inquiry which is supposed to take place in Karnataka would have casted a shadow on the campaign of the Congress party to pin down Nitin Gadkari. You see, it has to be seen in a larger context. On one hand, the Congress is going full guns blazing against Nitin Gadkari's firms. All the notices have been issued. And on the other hand, they couldn't have had the senior-most Karnataka politician reeling under an FIR.
Fair point, Karthikeya. Rahul, I'll bring you in. Just put this in perspective for us, because this is not just one of those cosmetic reshuffles that we've seen right through UPA 1 and UPA 2. This is a huge one.
Oh, absolutely, and all ministers are on edge at this time, because several of them have double portfolios. They know for a fact that one of those 2 portfolios are going to go, as is the case with every human being. They have some likes, they have some dislikes. They want to retain some portfolios and are happy to let others go. They're very concerned about whether they'll get to retain the portfolio that they want. This, in fact, is the last opportunity that the Prime Minister has to signal massive intent, to show that there is an opportunity for younger ministers, MPs, to get an upgrade, for people to be brought in, and also set the stage for Rahul Gandhi's team, because this is essentially a geriatric cabinet where people who are very old have been occupying the key positions, several in their late 70s, and that's not, and India being such a young country, there's always been the need to bring in younger MPs, bring in younger ministers, get them to do more work. Because if you see the likes of Milind Deora, Sachin Pilot, Jyotiraditya Scindia, they've actually, while they've had glorified portfolios as Minister of State, they've had very little work to do because most of the work is being done by their senior ministers. And in some cases, the junior hasn't had a good working relationship with the senior and therefore has had very little to do except twiddle his thumb. So this is an opportunity for them also in the months that they have to gain some administrative experience to understand how the files move, to be a part of some big policy decisions so that they get their expertise in order for some time in the future when Rahul Gandhi is in charge. That's the idea which is being implemented, because they want to also show that they're getting rid of some of the baggage and bringing in younger faces and making that seem as if there's an intent which is being signaled through this cabinet reshuffle to ensure that it isn't just something which is cosmetic. Siddharth.
Right. Will it work? That's the big question, isn't it? I'll put that to Sanjeev Srivastava, political analyst who's on the phone line with us. Sanjeev, a reshuffle of such mammoth proportions, try to bring in younger blood into the cabinet. Will it work?
Whether it works or not is completely a separate question, but to not do it perhaps would be the most foolish thing to do at this stage, because they have to reshuffle the pack. They have to put forward a new kind of an image and their best foot forward. And the foot which was forward till now, the team which was playing till now, that clearly is not a team which is going to win them 2014. So they have to not only go in for something dramatic, but also make it look dramatic, like they have introduced and brought about some change. Because if this exercise goes without that message, and if it fails to send that message, then the whole purpose gets defeated. So, as an analyst, I would be, interested, of course, in what kind of a stamp Rahul Gandhi has on this cabinet reshuffle. Who amongst his younger colleagues and supporters get either elevated or inducted in the cabinet. But the other thing which most people are missing out perhaps is that what kind of a stamp of Manmohan Singh will this new cabinet have? Because
that's a very good question. That's a very good question that actually you put across.
I think the entire this anti-corruption campaign, which has somehow cast a shadow on people as diverse as Nitin Gadkari to Robert Vadra, have strangely strengthened the original Mr. Clean of Indian politics, which happens to be Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. So who is talking about his role in Colgate today? Nobody. Because, a few weeks is such a long time in Indian politics. There was a Prime Minister who looked completely beleaguered a few weeks ago, hamstrung, being forced to make that emotional address to the nation on television, where he said that if there's anything wrong found against him, he should be given the maximum punishment and things like that. Suddenly, the last 2 weeks, you find a new swagger. Is a very incorrect, kind of wrong word to use for Mr. Manmohan Singh. But strangely enough, you can see that swagger. If not that swagger, the big smile that he had on Ramlila ground is an indication that suddenly he's a much more confident self than perhaps ever before in the last couple of years.
Right. Sanjeev, stay with us. We've also got Krishna, Anand, political analyst, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Anand, the Congress is offering the excuse that they're putting in place the Kamaraj plan, and that's why they're shunting out SM Krishna to Karnataka to try and ensure that while the BJP's infighting has weakened it very, very badly in the state, SM Krishna can ensure that the Congress becomes a resurgent force.
Yeah. See, I think, when we talk about the Kamaraj plan and all, the facts of history is that, it was a conspiracy led by Jawaharlal Nehru to get out all those other people who he thought was in line after him and, pay the pass, and Kamaraj plan was only an excuse. But, coming back to SM Krishna in the context of a Kamaraj plan, it's ridiculous because Krishna has never been a mass leader in Karnataka politics. And in fact, Krishna was a spent force long ago, except that, he was a stopgap chief minister at a point of time when they had their own dissident problem. There have been veteran leaders of the Congress in Karnataka who have not been able to keep the Congress intact. Siddharamaiah as a constituency, which is Krishna's constituency, the social or, the political sense of the term in Karnataka. I think, here is one more man who has got caught. And as long as he is not a Robert Vadra or a Manmohan Singh, he is expendable. So he's been asked to go, and as simple as that.
Fair point, Mr. Anand. Stay with us. We've got Kartikeya Sharma, Deputy Editor, with more details. And Kartikeya, the question everybody seems to be asking now is, after SM Krishna is gone, who next?
You see, I really don't expect other ministers to put in their papers like this. Mr. Krishna's case is complicated by two things. One, there's going to be an election in Karnataka. Second, you're going to have a inquiry by Lokayukta. And third, he was initially very reticent. You know, SM Krishna is over 80 years old. He was not very keen to go back to the state politics, and I can tell you this with great surety. So, very fact that has put in his papers, so there is great pressure from the top to reorient. Now, what are they reorienting? They are reorienting the CCS of this government. CCS is Foreign Minister, Home Minister, Defense Minister, a Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. That's the CCS. So if Mr. Krishna goes out, someone senior in the government gets in. Who gets to become the Foreign Minister if SM Krishna is out? Who are the aspirants? Mr. Anand Sharma has been an aspirant. Salman Khurshid has been an aspirant, and Kapil Sibal has been an aspirant. And Anand Sharma, when Pranab Mukherjee was the foreign minister, had worked under him as Minister of State, and as a Minister of State, he was fully in charge of Foreign Affairs Ministry for a year, when then the minister had to resign, and it was directly under Prime Minister's control for exactly 1 year during UPA 1's tenure. So yes, I would say the chances of one person to become the next foreign minister, the highest, is that of Anand Sharma.
Right, Kartikeya, and there's also word that a lot of ministers who held two portfolios may actually be cut down to size. They'll get only one, so that there is space made for younger ministers to come in.
You see, a lot of people have to be upgraded. For example, Mr. Jena, he's from Odisha. During UPA's tenure, during the tenure of the Janta government between 1996-98, he was a cabinet minister. He was supposed to be a cabinet minister, but then he became Minister of State under Aligari. He needs to be promoted. Then there are certain ministries which need to be incorporated into other ministries the way they used to function during NDA's regime. Corporate affairs is going to go back. You need to accommodate senior faces from Assam like Rahman Khan. Minority affairs is being held by Salman Khurshid. Mr. Sibal is in charge of HRD and Telecom. Vaila Ravi is also in charge of two ministries. Shelja Kumari is in charge of culture, housing and poverty alleviation. This list is endless. Pavan Mansal, parliamentary affairs, water resources. I can just go on and on. What the government intends to do is, if you want to elevate certain minister of states, then if they don't want them to come in the cabinet, you can give them independent charge. For example, there are a lot of young faces like Jyotiraditya Scindia, RPN Singh, who need to be promoted, Sachin Pilot. So you don't want to make them directly the cabinet ministers, because it breaks into the rule of seniority. So what do? You make them MOS with independent charge. The way Praful worked in the first UPA tenure, the way a place was made for Ajay Makan as a Minister of State with independent charge, in charge of youth and sports affairs. So that is why they need to free certain portfolios from senior cabinet ministers, so that the young faces, if I do not use the word young, MPs who are second term or third term get some autonomy in this council, because ultimately the cabinet ministers call the shot. MOS don't have much work to do, but you have an independent charge, then you can actually show the Prime Minister what you are capable of.
Alright, so that's the big story right now. SM Krishna, the External Affairs Minister, has sent in his resignation to the Congress High Command. Obviously, this comes on the back of the story that we broke, that one of the big five could very well step down ahead of that cabinet reshuffle. A final call is expected on the Saturday, when Sonia Gandhi and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh meet, and there's a PCC meet as well that's scheduled. Obviously, we're also expecting a day of huge developments, because our managing editor Rahul Kawal has actually gotten information that there's a meeting going on, a war room meeting that's taking place at Rakabganj Road, and that could very well pave the way for more ministers to actually put in their papers. Kartikeya, who could those ministers be? It could not, or rather, it might not be people from the big five, but there are strong possibilities that a few of the ministers are shunted out.
I would say that the case of Mr. Krishna is different. You see, his role will need to be redefined. But yes, there will be ministers who will be putting their papers, and they will be joining the organization. Roughly 3 to 4 months back, a very senior cabinet minister sent this proposal to Rahul Gandhi and Sonia that he would like to work for the government. Even last time around, during UPA1's tenure, in 2008 December, Jairam Ramesh and Oscar Fernandez both went back to the party. They were both functioning as Minister of State in the council, and they were part of the new team, or the war room team, which was created for the 2009 Lok Sabha elections. So yes, I would say that the party is full of such precedents, and we can expect not only MOSs, but at least a couple of senior cabinet ministers to go back, because this time around the fight is tougher.
All right, the fight is going to be much tougher, and that's something that just about everybody agrees on. But I'll go across to Sanjeev Srivastav, a political analyst who's on the phone line with us. And Sanjeev, as Karthikeya put it, the fight is going to be much tougher this time around, and that's got a lot to do with perception. And maybe SM Krishna then was the perfect fall guy, because only yesterday, as you were pointing out, or rather today's newspaper headlines carried news about an inquiry that was going to be conducted into SM Krishna while he was Chief Minister of Karnataka. Sanjeev? Alright, it seems that we've lost the link with Sanjeev Srivastav. We'll go across to V. Krishna Anant as well, a political analyst who's on the phone line with us. Would you agree, Mr. Anant, that this...
I think, Gaurav, I think the point is the Congress is in a state of, I recall what Arun Shourie once wrote somewhere in the 80s, late 80s, when the Bofors had caught up and all. He said that the Congress is in a state of cerebral palsy. I think, it's very impolite to sort of, use such words. But I think, the Congress government, Manmohan Singh government today is in a similar state where, no matter who resigns and does party work and all those things, 2014 it's a pipe dream. Now, let's go back to all this nonsense about the Kamraj plan. What exactly happened after the Kamraj plan? Did the Congress, in fact, it was after the Kamraj plan was put into practice, or rather executed, where 6 so-called cabinet ministers and 6 chief ministers resigned to do good to the party and all, that the Congress actually slided, its fortune slided, it lost power in 9 states. Don't forget that. Likewise, so all these people, SM Krishna going back to campaign for the Congress party, a task that Veerappa Moily probably will be equipped to do better in Karnataka, given the social mosaic and all those things. So I think, they are reading too much into all these kind of, slogans and statements being made. The fact is that here is one more minister who is actually going to be in the chopping board for some kind of an allegation of corruption, and the Congress probably thinks that, the fall guy, and day after tomorrow something might emerge that SM Krishna was a failure as a foreign minister. Come on, let's not build the fortunes of a party on people who are 80 plus like SM Krishna without a social base.
Fair point. Fair point, Mr. Anant, that you're making, that SM Krishna obviously is not someone who could actually reinvigorate the party in Karnataka as well. It's just a pretext that the Congress is using to shunt him out of the External Affairs Ministry. Karthikeya, just put this in perspective for us. Obviously, this is Rahul Gandhi, and Rahul Gandhi alone, who's actually putting his stamp on Manmohan Singh cabinet.
You see, if I have to decipher Rahul's signature or the signature of the Congress president, how do I do that? You see, there are a couple of priorities on which the government is focused. You have Lok Sabha election in 2014, but you have election in Gujarat, you have election in Himachal Pradesh, you have election in Delhi, Chhattisgarh, you have elections in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, and on top of it you have elections in Karnataka. So a lot of elections, big ticket assembly elections are between December as of now in 2013 and Lok Sabha elections in 2014. So from 2012 December to 2014 May June, you have a lot of big ticket, big daddy state elections. So the party would also need to re-galvanize their senior leadership as per that. And then the issue is, what will be the team of Rahul Gandhi? He's not going to fight his election with very senior cabinet ministers. If you look at the average age of the cabinet, of the Indian cabinet, it's more than 72 years old. It's more than 72. So that's not the age with Rahul Gandhi is going to face the electorate. Obviously, what the intention is to bring the age down, one. Secondly, to ensure that people who have worked with him get inducted. They get a sense of what the governance is. They get a sense of what is it to run an administration, to work with bureaucracy closely. And third, this is the last attempt on part of the Prime Minister to give this government a facelift. You see, it is not only about Rahul Gandhi's team, it is also about giving a facelift to the government which is beleaguered with a lot of scams, a lot of serious issues, issues like inflation, issues like corruption, and issues like inability of the government to tackle policy crisis. Yes, they have done that at the level of the cabinet, but they have to do it at the level of the parliament, because the parliament has now been convened on 21st of November.
Fair point, Karthikeya. Stay with us. We've also got our overseas affairs correspondent Maha Siddiqui joining us on the phone line. And Maha, what's the word that you're getting from within the ministry?
Well, let me put it like this, Siddharth, and carry forward what Karthikeya was mentioning over there, that certainly this first step over here and the first purpose we see of SM Krishna putting in his resignation is for facelift. Clearly, it is seen that and perhaps believed that he was not a strong enough face, and therefore they would want somebody new to take over the ministry, and that is the reason this decision has been taken. The other reason what I could put over here is that corruption allegations that the UP is embroiled in. Clearly, there was an accusation against Mr. SM Krishna as well, with the Lokayukta accusing him in one of the mining cases that has been going on for some time. And clearly, for image cleansing, for facelift, this was perhaps required. What we understand from our sources is that SM Krishna will be working at the state level. That's also a story that has been doing the rounds for over 4-5 months now, that somebody as senior as SM Krishna would be sent back to the state to work towards the Karnataka elections, because the Congress really sees its prospects good in Karnataka this time around, and they want to put in all the effort. And that is perhaps one of the reasons that he'll be asked to work with the organization. Moreover, the person at the state level is his protege, and therefore they believe that perhaps SM Krishna could work better over there with him and do some wonders perhaps in Karnataka, that the BJP took over the state 4 years ago.